Hey guys, welcome back to Graham's Garage. Today we have a new snowblower in the shop, and similar to the last video I did, we are going to dive into the carburetor because the snowblower wouldn't start for the customer this season, unfortunately. And so what I've done already is I have looked right here at the spark plug, and I have this spark tester from Harbor Freight. It's probably $10 or something like that. I attached it and used the electric start, and I saw that it has good spark on it. And so it's got gas, it's got fresh gas. That means the fuel must not be getting into the combustion chamber, meaning that the carburetor is most likely dirty. So in this video, you're going to see me diving in to the carburetor on this specific snowblower. It's going to be different for yours most likely, unless you have this same one. This is a Troy-Bilt Storm 2410. And most of the time, if not all the time, you're going to have a little panel here with your controls on it. You may have a throttle that's adjustable, and you're just going to have a couple bolts holding on this cover, and the carburetor is underneath it. So first thing we're going to do is get this cover off. These are just some 10mm bolts. Grab a little socket and a wrench, and let's take them all off. I decided to flip the mower up into its service position so that I can get a better angle at some of these bolts. You're going to want to pay attention to the bolt sizes as well and where they came from. So these two longer ones came from here, and the shorter one came from over there. So just keep in mind, that way you can put the right sizes back where they came out of whenever you go to put it back together. Depending on your snowblower, that might determine what all you'll need to take apart as far as the controls go in order to get the plastic off smoothly. So for mine, looks like you're gonna have to move your throttle to the little notch because it's just gonna slide off. I think our choke is connected to this little arm here. So we're gonna see if we can pop this off. After looking at it a little closer, I don't see a screw in there, so it should just pop right off. Yep. Just like that. And you're gonna have some wires underneath, so you're gonna want to be careful as you take it off. And then up above the throttle, and you want to watch your cords underneath, just like that. We expose the carburetor without pulling the cords off of the box. What I had to do was take the hose off of my primer bulb. That way I could let the plastic sit here and get to the carburetor. But one mistake I did is I flipped it up with the fuel in it. And so now it's leaking fuel everywhere, so I'm gonna flip it back. So you're gonna make sure it's drained out if you flip it into the surface position like I did. So I got a little mess to clean up now. Alright, I've set it upright again, cleaned up a little bit of the gas, and we're going to want to disconnect a couple of the little different things, which includes a little throttle linkage here. So if you can do that without taking the bolts off your carburetor first, great. I'm gonna unscrew these, and we're gonna have to take this hose, this fuel line off, and I'm gonna clamp mine down so that it doesn't leak. And I think I can get away with taking these nuts off and sliding it out without having to take off this, looks like a little breather tube here on top, because these snowblowers they usually don't have air filters on them. I don't fully understand why. I'm sure you could research that. But I'm gonna go ahead and take off these nuts and disattach this throttle linkage back here. And I'm going to clamp this fuel line as well. Let's see if I can get this fuel line off with one hand here. You're gonna wanna grab some pliers, get this fuel line clamp, this hose clamp undone. And I like to grab it at the base and twist it and free it up. And next I'm going to grab, I use a vice grip, vice clamp, whatever you call it. I put some fuel liner on the end so that I don't damage my line. Neat little trick you could do. And if you don't have these tools, you could always drain your fuel out. I'm gonna clamp it here like that and see if I can pull it off. Looks like I'm gonna need my pliers, but a little bit of persuasion and it'll come off. You have to twist and use leverage as well. Just like this. Just like that. It's off. Clamp is holding the fuel in there. So we can slide this back a little bit. You do have a breather tube going to your valve cover into the back of this, what looks like our air intake. Oh, it looks like this little air manifold is not a part of the carburetor. It looks like I can just slide it off here. Maybe. I'm gonna make it easier on myself and take these two little screws out. Okay, got that off. Now I should be able to slide this over our little choke arm, like that, yep. There we go. I'm not too sure how this little arm works, if it comes out or what, but remember earlier, this little arm connects to the little red knob over on the floor there that we just took off. So you're gonna have to take that off to slide the plastics up over it. Now it looks like the breather's attached to this little air manifold, so we can just put that to the side. We can undo our throttle linkage here. It's real simple. Just open it, push over a little bit. So just with one hand, so you should be able to do this. You're gonna want to twist it over, and then you should be able to just push up on it. A little pressure, just like that. And then our spring. Don't want to forget about these. I've done that a couple times. So now we'll grab our gasket. Don't want to break these. If it's already broken, you might want to replace those. I'd recommend that. and we should have it free to come off now. Just like that, we've got our carburetor off and it's ready to be cleaned. Find yourself a clean workspace, workbench. Drain out the fuel by tipping it over. And we're gonna tear into this carburetor. Sorry for the mess. It's been a little bit since I've cleaned up my shop. Start off by taking the bowl off. So that's just the center bolt at the bottom. You might have a little bit of gas coming out on you too. You don't want to lose your bolts. And a way that can help you is you can set down the parts in the order that you've taken them off. So our bolt, we're going to set that next to the bolt. Our O-ring, there's a little seal here that keeps gas from coming out of the bowl. So ours didn't come off, but if it does, you just set it to the side, we'll put it on later. Right here is a little pin. It's gonna slide right out. You might need pliers if yours is corroded. Set that next to our bowl. In our float, this is what keeps our fuel from overflowing in the bowl. It's got a little needle and a little spring sometimes. There's a spring on there. Right there you can see the spring. You don't want to lose either of these. I'm just going to leave mine on there because it doesn't look dirty. We're going to set that right next to our pin. And now we've just got the carburetor. Inside, there's going to be our main jet. And if you can tell, there is a little flathead place to put a screwdriver there. And so we're gonna take that out with the little flathead screwdriver. Okay, now it should just fall out once you've unscrewed it. Might have to tap it. Right there, okay. So you're gonna wanna pay attention to your emulsion tube, which is this. This comes out after the jet, and it's just held in there by the pressure of the threads on the bottom. So the emulsion tube has a bigger hole, which is usually clear. And the jet, this is your most important piece right here, in my opinion. And you're supposed to be able to see the light coming through this. In my other video, I showed just how to get this jet out without having to disassemble your whole carburetor. But if that doesn't work, you're gonna have to do what we're doing today and take the whole carburetor off and clean that as well as your jet. And from what I've experienced, 99% of the time, the problem is this jet being clogged, because that is where the fuel gets shot through in a vapor, and then it gets shoved into it gets sucked into the combustion chamber for it to be fired. So if this is clogged, sometimes your ethanol, after letting your snowblower sit over the summer, it'll get clogged in this little hole. And so that's what we're experiencing today. So we're gonna wanna get some wire and some carb cleaner, and we're gonna clean this as well as any of the other little holes inside of the carburetor. So let's get to it. I like to use gum out carb and choke parts cleaner. So I stuck a wire through the jet. Now we're just gonna spray a little fluid. Careful where you aim it. Just like that. Oh yeah, you can already tell that that jet was clogged up because you can see through it so well now. So that was definitely the problem on this one. If your jet's already clear, then the chances are another important hole on your carburetor needs cleaned out. So while we have it off, we're gonna go ahead and stick some wire and shoot some spray through these little holes. I just got a face full of carburetor cleaner. Now I can't open my eyes. Yeah, you're definitely gonna want to wear some safety goggles whenever you do this, so it doesn't shoot back at you like it shot at me. I got pretty lucky with this carburetor. It's already pretty clean, as you can see. But I've seen carburetors that are just caked in ethanol inside the bowl, in every little crevice, every nook and cranny of the carburetor. So now that we've got it relatively cleaned out, well enough, we're gonna go ahead and put it back together the way we took it apart. So I'm gonna start with my emulsion tube. You can do this in any order, I'm sure. Not the emulsion tube. The emulsion tube, if you can see, they all look pretty identical. This end here is gonna go in first, followed by our jet, our main jet, with the little spot to put your screwdriver facing up. That way you can grab your screwdriver and screw it back down. Just like that. Next, we're gonna wanna grab our bolt. And if you took the needle out, don't forget that, to put it back onto your little groove in the bolt here. We're gonna stick the needle back into this little hole where the fuel comes out. And we're gonna grab our pin and we're gonna slide it back in so that the bowl can hinge on it. Just like that. And our O-ring, you don't wanna forget that. And you don't wanna pinch it either. You're gonna wanna put it back in if it came out or stayed in there. So we're gonna set it in there, just like that. If you're wondering, this little bolt here, that is to drain out your fuel if need be. So we're gonna take our bolt, and just screw it back on, tighten everything up. Just like that, carburetor is ready to go back onto the machine. And in the same direction it came off, we're gonna put it back on. If you took any gaskets out, make sure not to forget those. Slide it on. We're gonna grab our throttle linkages here and hook them up. Just push down, grab our spring. Be careful not to push these in too far because you don't want these to come off your governor arm underneath this plate. That can be a real pain. So we'll slide it on, grab our fuel line, a little pressure on it, take off our clamp, slide on our hose clamp here. Like that. We're going to put our gasket back on. Make sure this is in the right direction by matching up the little holes. It looks like this is the way it goes on. Next, we're going to put this on. And I noticed whenever I took it off, there was a little metal spacer that kept the plastic from getting pinched when you tighten the nuts down, so don't forget that if it fell out. Find your hardware, pick out your nuts, and we're going to go ahead and bolt them back on. Grab your wrench and tighten it on down. You don't need to go too tight, just tight enough to where it won't vibrate out. plenty. Don't forget about the little plastic piece I took off earlier. Yours might not have this. Slide it back over. Looks like our primer tube slides right in there. We're gonna grab the screws and plop them down in there again. This little set of wires goes in this clip. And we're ready to put our cover back on, but we don't want to forget our primer tube here. This gets hooked back up underneath the cover, right on this little hole here. If you can see, I got the little hose back in there on the primer. So finally we're ready to put it back on. So we're gonna want to move the throttle, fit the throttle through the little hole here, like that. We want to lift up. You can go back through the little choke arm. Okay, we stuck it through the little hole. Slide it forward a little bit. This one was pretty simple. Yours might be easier or harder, depending on the snowblower. We're gonna grab our bolts. Make sure they're the right size that came out of each hole. I remember the small ones went over here, and the longer ones went over here. And we're just gonna screw them back, right back down. And just like that, we've got all of our bolts in. We're gonna stick our choke arm back on. Just like that. Let's start it up, see if it'll run. Runs like a champ. First pull. Woo, let's go. Started and ran great. Just like that, there's another fix out of the way. Short and simple. Like, subscribe if you feel led to, and comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions on this specific fix or any other fixes that you might have in mind. Thanks for watching. God bless.